Have you ever reached a moment where silence speaks louder than any word you could say? It often comes unexpectedly, like a sudden hush in the middle of an argument or a pause that lingers long after the door has closed. It's not the silence of absence, but the kind that rises from within, a deep, echoing stillness that says, enough. There's a story from the Buddha's time that still whispers its truth today. One morning, as the sun painted soft gold across the earth, the Buddha sat quietly under a tree. A man approached him, full of fury. He hurled insults, loud, bitter, relentless. He accused the Buddha of being a fraud, a liar, a danger to society. Yet the Buddha just looked at him, gently, unmoved. When the man paused, breathless from his own rage, the Buddha finally spoke. "If someone offers you a gift," he said, "and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man blinked, confused perhaps, and then, without waiting for an answer, the Buddha continued, "Likewise, if I do not accept your anger, it remains with you. Now imagine that, truly, imagine what it would feel like to stop carrying what was never meant for you. The judgments, the insults, the misunderstandings, all those things that people throw your way, not because of who you are, but because of what they themselves haven't yet made peace with. You may have noticed, as the years pass, that your patience deepens, but so does your exhaustion. Not the kind that's fixed with a nap or a quiet evening, but a soul-deep weariness. You get tired of being misunderstood, of being drawn into storms that aren't yours, of trying to explain your heart to those determined not to listen. And yet the Buddha reminds us, hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal law. But what if love, in this case, begins with loving your own peace? Not every noise deserves a response, not every provocation deserves a reply, and not every invitation to conflict is one you need to accept. There's something beautifully liberating about realizing that your energy is not limitless and that wisdom lies in choosing where to place it. The world will always offer you opportunities to react, an unkind word, a disappointed look, an old wound pressed again. But each of these moments is also an invitation, not to explode, not to retreat, but to wake up, to remember that your inner stillness is not weakness, it's power. There's a quiet, gentle woman I once met in a small town in Oregon. She was in her late 70s, soft-spoken and radiant in that unexplainable way that some people just are. She told me how in her younger days she would cry herself to sleep over every harsh comment or forgotten phone call. But somewhere along the way, after enough tears, enough turmoil, she started asking herself a different question. Is this really mine to carry? She began practicing what she called emotional fasting. Just like giving her body space to heal through not eating, she gave her heart space to heal through not reacting. She didn't stop feeling, oh no, she still felt deeply. But she learned to observe before responding, to breathe before answering, and most of all, to choose her peace over her pride. Her story reminded me that emotional discipline isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming clear. It's about reclaiming the space within yourself that's too sacred to be tossed around by every breeze. And perhaps that's where this journey begins, not in mastering the world, but in learning how to be unmoved by what doesn't deserve to move you. So let us begin here, not with resistance, not with explanation, but with breath, with silence, with presence. As you sit with these thoughts, ask yourself gently, what have I been carrying that no longer belongs to me? What do I keep reacting to, even when I know it only drains me? And more tenderly still, what would it feel like to finally lay it all down? Let this be the threshold. You're not retreating from the world. You're simply choosing, moment by moment, how much of yourself to give to it. Shall we keep walking? There's a kind of storm that doesn't live in the sky. It lives in the mind, and often it brews quietly. A glance misread, a word that feels like a wound, a memory that resurfaces when you least expect it. The world outside may be calm, tea warm in your hands, the dog sleeping by the window, but inside, the winds can howl. You try to dismiss it, but the emotion takes root. Anger, hurt, resentment. Before long, you're no longer sipping your tea. You're replaying a conversation from 5 years ago, heart pounding all over again. Sound familiar? There's an old Buddhist tale that I love, not because it's grand or dramatic, but because it's so utterly human. It's about a monk named Tissa. He lived during the Buddha's time and by all accounts was sincere, diligent, and easily offended. One day, another monk said something that rubbed Tissa the wrong way. A small comment, insignificant to anyone else, but Tissa clung to it like a thorn. He grew withdrawn, resentful. The other monks noticed, and finally they brought him before the Buddha. The Buddha asked, "Why do you carry this anger, Tissa?" Tissa replied, "Because I was insulted. He should not have spoken to me that way." The Buddha, with great gentleness, said, "Carrying anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned." Now I wonder, how many hot coals have you held in your own hands? How many days, months, even years have passed where you've let someone else's actions control your inner world? Not because you are weak, but because no one ever taught us that emotional discipline is a practice, a gentle, deliberate art. And yet, that's exactly what it is, like sweeping the same temple floor every morning, even when it looks clean, like tending a garden, even when the weeds seem endless. It's in the returning, the choosing, the breath you take before the reply, the pause before the assumption, the moment you choose grace when your pride is begging for a fight. It is hard, I know, and sometimes you'll fail, you'll snap back, you'll stew in bitterness. But let me say this clearly, that doesn't mean you've lost. It just means you're human. Emotional discipline is not perfection. It's practice, daily, hourly, sometimes minute by minute. You might ask, but if I don't stand up for myself, if I don't respond, don't I let people walk all over me? It's a fair question, and it's where most of us get stuck. But the answer lies in intention. You see, silence rooted in fear is different from silence rooted in wisdom. Withholding your voice because you're afraid is not strength, but choosing stillness because you know your peace is too precious to waste, that's power. Real strength isn't in the loud comeback or the sharp defense. It's in being able to feel anger rise within you like a flame licking at the edge of your heart and still not let it burn the whole house down. That is mastery. That is freedom. So next time someone tries to bait you, whether with a sideways comment or a pointed silence, pause, breathe, feel the coal in your palm, hot, tempting, and ask yourself, do I really want to carry this? There's an elder I knew who used to say, don't hand over your peace just because someone threw you a stone. Let it fall, let it echo, then walk on. His voice was like river water, soft but it stayed with you, and that's the heart of this practice. You are not shutting down, you are tuning in, you are not becoming numb, you are becoming aware. Slowly, you're learning to discern between what deserves your energy and what simply doesn't. And each time you choose peace over reaction, you strengthen the roots of something sacred inside you. So I invite you, softly, let this be your temple today. Not the world, not the chaos, but the space within, the one you've been sweeping quietly all your life. Come back to it, tend to it, protect it, and ask yourself, as you move through the hours ahead, what if I chose to remain unmoved? Not because I didn't feel, but because I've finally learned that not everything that touches me deserves to stay. This isn't giving up, this is rising. Shall we keep walking? Not long ago, I found myself sitting beside an old lake just outside Mendocino. The water was perfectly still, like a mirror holding the sky. A single duck cut through the surface. and for a moment I just watched how the ripples spread, wide, soft and slow, until they disappeared entirely, and it struck me how much our emotions are like that water. Every thought, every reaction, a ripple. Some dissolve quickly, others, especially those touched by pride or pain, linger longer, distorting everything around them. But what if we could learn to become more like the stillness rather than the ripple? There is a story buried deep in the old Buddhist sutras about a forest monk named Venerable Dabba. He was known not for eloquent teachings or dramatic life stories, but for one quiet gift, the ability to stay centered in the midst of anything. It was said that even when fellow monks disagreed or villagers gossiped or supplies ran low, Dabba's face never changed, calm, soft, unbothered. One day, a younger monk, curious and slightly annoyed by Dabba's stillness, asked him, "How do you stay so unaffected when others try to stir you?" Dabba replied, "When someone throws a rock into the forest, the tree does not chase it, the tree remains." It's such a simple image, and yet, how often do we chase the stones? Someone says something hurtful, and suddenly we're no longer grounded. Our mind spirals into comebacks, justifications, imagined arguments. We replay the insult, dissect it, turn it into a story about who we are. And in doing so, we forget that we're the tree, not the stone. But I understand why it happens. For many of us, reaction was a form of survival. We defended ourselves because the world taught us to. We fought to be heard because we were often silenced. And somewhere along the way, we came to believe that being loud meant being strong. But the Dharma invites us to look deeper, to ask, what if the greatest strength is in not being moved by every passing wind? What if power is the ability to feel without being pulled? There's a teaching that says the mind is like a candle in the wind. Without training, it flickers with every draft. Fear, praise, anger, praise again. But with mindfulness, that candle becomes protected, cupped gently by presence. The wind may still blow, but the flame remains. Let me ask you something quietly, like a friend sitting beside you in that still morning light. How much of your energy, your joy, your clarity has been handed away in moments of reaction? How many beautiful mornings were lost because one phone call made your stomach churn? How many peaceful evenings were disturbed by a comment you couldn't forget? How often have you danced to the rhythm of someone else's chaos, only to realize you were never invited to peace in that song? The truth is, people will project. They will misunderstand you. They will sometimes be careless, sometimes wounded, sometimes unaware of the power their words carry. But none of that determines your worth. None of that belongs to your spirit unless you invite it in. This is where practice becomes protection, not through aggression or retreat, but through stillness. You begin, not with a grand vow, but with a single breath before you speak, a pause before you reply, a quiet question. Does this deserve my peace, or have I already paid too high a price for someone else's storm? Over time, that breath becomes a gate, a sacred filter. The world may knock, but you decide what enters. You become less like a sponge, absorbing everything, and more like the lake I sat by, spacious enough to reflect, still enough to settle, wise enough to let the ripples fade. And I'll tell you this, the more you taste that kind of stillness, the less hungry you become for reaction. You begin to value your presence like treasure. You choose your words like sacred seeds. You let go of the need to explain what no longer needs explaining, not because you don't care, but because you've learned to care for yourself first. So the next time life offers you a stone, a comment, a judgment, a provocation, remember Dabba, remember the tree. Ask yourself, is this who I want to become in this moment? If not, return to your breath, return to your ground, be the one who remains, and gently, without fanfare or fuss, let that be enough. Shall we continue walking? I once met a man in the desert plains of New Mexico. He was in his late 80s, skin weathered by sun and time, eyes bright as polished glass. He told me that in his younger years he had been quick to fire his words, not mine. Someone looked at me sideways, he chuckled, and I was ready to burn the bridge before I even checked if it was worth crossing. But something happened as he aged. Not a grand event, no lightning bolt from the sky, but a slow, stubborn wisdom that crept in like morning mist. He began to question not others, but himself. Was I truly defending my dignity, he asked me, or just feeding my pride? That question hung in the air between us. I've carried it with me ever since. You see, there's a subtle but powerful difference between protecting your peace and protecting your ego. The former requires self-awareness, the latter only instinct, and instincts, while natural, aren't always wise. In Buddhist teachings, there's a concept known as upadana, clinging. It refers not just to attachment to things or people, but to ideas, identities, and wounds. We cling to being right, to being understood, to being respected, and when that need isn't met, the ego reacts like a firecracker in the hand, loud, sudden, and often harmful to the one holding it. But what if we stopped clinging so tightly? What if we loosened our grip, just a little, on the stories we tell ourselves? I was wronged. They disrespected me. They should apologize. These thoughts might be valid, but are they helpful? A wise nun once told me, freedom isn't when the world stops offending you, it's when you stop offering yourself up to be offended. I remember a story the Buddha told his disciples about a man pierced by an arrow. The man refused to have the arrow removed until he knew who shot it, what caste the archer came from, what kind of bow was used. The Buddha said plainly, by the time those answers arrive, the man will have died. We do that, don't we? We get pierced by a word, a slight, a betrayal, and instead of removing the arrow through understanding and release, we spend our days interrogating the pain. We spiral into questions that offer no peace. Why would they do that to me? What did I do to deserve this? Why won't they see my side? But the arrow doesn't care. It remains, festering, until we make a new choice to release what we'll never get closure from. It's not easy, I know, especially when you've been kind, when you've given others the benefit of the doubt, only to be met with coldness or betrayal. But here's something no one tells us when we begin this journey inward. Healing is not about justice, it's about liberation. You may never get the apology, you may never get the explanation, and you may never get them to see your heart the way you wish they would. But you can still be free. You can choose not to carry bitterness like a second skin. You can choose to walk away not with fury, but with dignity. You can stop standing in fires just to prove that you're burning. There's a sacred line in the Dhammapada that says, as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame. Take that in, not moved by praise either, because that's the quiet trap, isn't it? We crave approval as much as we flinch at judgment. We ride the roller coaster of other people's opinions, forgetting that our value was never meant to be dictated by voices outside of us. So how do we begin to reclaim that steady ground? By becoming selective, not cold, not distant, but conscious. You learn to notice how you feel after being around certain people. Do you feel lighter or heavier, clearer or confused, inspired or depleted? The body knows long before the mind admits it. You learn to leave the conversation when it no longer respects your presence. You learn to stop dancing in dysfunction just because the music is familiar. And most importantly, you learn to love yourself in the silence that follows, because it's in that quiet, when you're no longer performing for anyone's understanding, that your truest self begins to speak. And oh, what a sound that is. Not loud, not boastful, just true. So today, pause before you react. When the old triggers stir, let them rise like smoke and let them pass like wind. You are not obligated to respond to every disruption. You are not responsible for teaching lessons to every person who misjudges you. You are here to live wisely, breathe deeply, and let your presence become your protest. Let your peace do the talking. Shall we keep walking? There's a small village story that still drifts down from the hills of northern India, told in hushed tones by firelight, usually by elders with eyes that have seen more than they speak. It's about a young monk named Nanda who once asked his teacher, "How do I stop being shaken every time someone disrespects me?" His teacher didn't reply immediately. Instead, he led Nanda to a river at sunrise and handed him a bowl. "Scoop some water," he said. Nanda did. "Now hold it still." But of course he couldn't. Every breath of wind, every twitch in his hands caused the surface to ripple. The teacher smiled and said, "You're asking the wrong question, Nanda. The goal is not to make the water still. The goal is to become the river." That story has lived with me for years, and I share it now with you, because I believe many of us, especially as we grow older, have been chasing stillness the wrong way. We try to fix the world around us, we try to explain ourselves, correct the misunderstandings, respond to every sideways glance or cold shoulder. We believe that if we can just get others to see our truth, then maybe, just maybe, we'll finally feel safe. But that's not stillness, that's control, and control, as you've likely discovered by now, is exhausting. True stillness isn't about silencing the world, it's about no longer being disturbed by its noise. It's not that the river doesn't feel the rock, it does, but it moves around it, over it, without needing to push back. And isn't that what we long for? The ability to move through life with grace, even when others throw stones? There's a moment in every journey, often after heartbreak or betrayal, when you realize you have two choices: react and remain stuck, or pause and transform. One keeps the wound open, the other begins to turn it into wisdom. Many years ago, I met a woman named Lillian, 73 at the time, whose life had been woven with both grief and grit. Her youngest son had cut ties with her over some long-forgotten argument, and she carried that silence like a bruise that never quite faded. I asked her one afternoon how she made peace with it. She stared out the window for a long while before saying softly, "I stopped waiting for the apology and gave myself the closure." It wasn't bitterness, it was maturity, the kind that only time and suffering can carve into the soul. Because at some point, you must stop waiting for others to free you. You must choose to free yourself. And that's where emotional discipline becomes more than a concept. It becomes a daily act of compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. You stop replying to every provocation, not because you're passive, but because you're wise. You stop chasing clarity in people who are addicted to confusion. You stop lowering your vibration just to be heard by someone who refuses to listen at your frequency. Instead, you observe, you pause, you reflect, and when needed, you walk away, not in anger, but in reverence for your own peace. There's a Tibetan teaching that says, when you walk calmly through the world begins to calm around you. That's not magic, that's resonance. You begin to carry a vibration that others can feel, even if they don't understand it. And here's the quiet beauty of it all. The more you choose stillness over reaction, the more natural it becomes. What used to trigger you barely stirs the surface. What once demanded your attention now falls away unnoticed. You stop explaining your worth. You stop defending your decisions. You stop trying to fix what was never yours to carry. Instead, you become the river, flowing, present, soft in strength. You carry your life forward, not through force, but through direction. And those who cannot meet you in that clarity, let them stay on the banks, let them watch, Let them wander, let them feel the distance, and call it silence, not realizing it's the sound of you returning home to yourself. So the next time life throws something sharp into your path, a comment, a betrayal, a disappointment, ask yourself gently, am I the ripple or am I the river? And let the answer guide your breath. Shall we keep walking? Some mornings arrive without warning, not in the sky but in the heart. A kind of quiet you didn't expect. The coffee's warm, the house is still, and yet something inside feels unsettled. Maybe it's a memory that returned uninvited, or the echo of someone's silence that speaks louder than it should. And suddenly, you're not in your kitchen anymore. You're replaying a scene from years ago. Words you wish you could take back, moments you wish had gone differently. We've all been there. It's in those moments, the ones that sneak in before we can defend ourselves, that the true practice begins. Not the kind you prepare for, but the kind that knocks on your door unannounced, asking, are you ready to respond differently this time? The Buddha once shared a parable about a man who built a raft to cross a dangerous river. He worked for days gathering logs, tying rope, navigating currents, until finally he reached the other side. Grateful and exhausted, he stood there looking back at the raft that had saved him. And then, as if by instinct, he hoisted it onto his back and continued walking. The Buddha paused and said, now tell me, was that man wise to carry the raft after it had served its purpose? The monks shook their heads. So too, the Buddha continued, we must let go of what once served us when it no longer does. Now pause here with me. What emotional rafts are you still carrying? Perhaps it was anger that once protected you, or control that gave you comfort when the world felt unsafe. Maybe it was the need to always be right, or always be kind, even when it drained you. These things at some point helped you survive, but now, are they helping you live? There is a soft grief in letting go of who you were, but there is also a quiet power in stepping into who you've become. I once sat with a man named Reggie, a retired firefighter with hands like stone and eyes that could tell 1,000 stories without blinking. He told me that for most of his life, he equated silence with weakness. If I didn't speak up, he said, they'd think I didn't care, or worse, that they were right. But after retirement, after 2 divorces and the slow unraveling of pride, he started to notice something. The more I spoke, he told me, the less I heard myself. So he stopped, not from bitterness but from clarity. He began to listen more, to the way his body tensed around certain people, to the fatigue after certain conversations, to the gut feeling that whispered, you don't need to be here. And slowly, with time, he found that silence didn't mean surrender, it meant self-respect. He looked me straight in the eye and said, you can walk out of a room without slamming the door, and it still counts as leaving. That line, it still counts as leaving, has stayed with me. Because many of us wait for a dramatic sign to justify our peace. We wait to be mistreated one last time, or disrespected one step too far, before giving ourselves permission to let go. But wisdom doesn't wait for the worst-case scenario. It pays attention to the subtle erosion of joy, of dignity, of lightness, and it acts before bitterness becomes the only language left. This isn't about becoming untouchable. It's about becoming so deeply connected to your inner world that nothing outside of you can pull you too far from it. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't have to rehash your truth until it's palatable, and you certainly don't need to offer every emotion a stage to perform on. Some feelings are just passing travelers. Some thoughts are just noise disguised as urgency. You learn slowly to let them knock without opening the door. So the next time you feel the urge to defend, to explain, to react, pause, feel the weight of the raft on your back, and ask, does this still serve me? Or is it time to place it down, thank it, and walk on lighter? Not all journeys need luggage. Some are meant to be walked with empty hands, open hearts, and a silence so full it becomes your most honest truth. And perhaps, just perhaps, that's where you're heading now. Let the next step find you softer. There is a moment in every season when the tree begins to shed, not because it has failed, but because it knows it must. Autumn doesn't apologize for letting go. It simply trusts the process. And in that quiet surrender, there's a kind of poetry, a wisdom that understands what no longer nourishes you must be released, no matter how long it has hung on. Many of us have spent years holding on, not just to people, but to roles, to expectations, to the version of ourselves that once felt necessary. You were the fixer, the forgiver, the one who always showed up, even when no one asked how you were doing. Perhaps you still are, but let me ask you gently, with no judgment at all, are you still carrying what no longer carries you? There's a teaching in Buddhism called the second arrow. The first arrow is the pain, inevitable, human, often unavoidable. Someone disappoints you, a plan falls through, a relationship ends. That's life. But the second arrow is the one we fire at ourselves through rumination, blame, bitterness, or self-punishment. And it's that second arrow that causes the deepest wound. The Buddha taught that freedom doesn't come from avoiding the first arrow. It comes from learning not to fire the second. I once knew a woman named Eliza who ran a modest flower shop in a quiet corner of the city. She had lost her husband 20 years earlier and had never remarried. When I asked her once, "Was he the love of your life?" she smiled gently and said, "He was the beginning of it." Then she looked away, her eyes resting on a wilting peony, and added, "But the rest? The rest I've had to grow myself." She told me how she spent years asking why he left so early, why the world took him and not her, why the pain lingered even after the memories softened. And then one day she stopped asking why and started asking how. How do I want to live now? How do I honor the love without being trapped in its shadow? That shift changed everything. She didn't move on, she moved with. She began tending her grief like she did her garden, gently, seasonally, knowing some days the soil would be dry and unyielding, and others it would bloom unexpectedly. That's what healing looks like. Not a linear upward climb, but a spiral. A coming back again and again to the same wound, but with more understanding, more gentleness, more grace each time. And when you begin to let go, not just with your hands but with your heart, it's not that you stop caring, it's that you stop sacrificing your peace to prove that you do. You realize that some things don't need closure to be over. Some stories don't need a final chapter. Some apologies never arrive. But your healing doesn't depend on any of that. It depends on your willingness to stop letting the pain define your identity. There's a reason the lotus is the symbol of awakening. It grows from the mud, not above it, not in spite of it, but through it. The mess becomes the nourishment. The darkness becomes the womb. So let yourself bloom. Not when the world is perfect, not when every question is answered, but right here, in the midst of the mess. Let this be enough. You don't have to be completely healed to honor your journey. You just have to stop betraying yourself to hold on to what hurts. Choose not to respond when your ego itches to. Choose not to explain your worth when your soul already knows it. Choose not to keep returning to rooms where your joy is met with silence, and in that choosing, something shifts. The body exhales, the mind loosens, the spirit softens. You begin to notice that peace doesn't come from winning the argument. It comes from no longer needing to have it. And isn't that what you've been searching for all along? That quiet, unshakable knowing that you don't have to carry everything, that some things are allowed to fall, and when they do, you're still here, more rooted, more whole, more you. Let that be your truth tonight, as softly as a leaf returning to the earth. The next breath is waiting. There's a sound the soul makes when it finally sets something down. It's not loud, it doesn't come with a declaration. It doesn't announce itself to the room or seek applause. It's the quiet exhale after years of holding your breath. It's the peace that arrives not because life suddenly got easier, but because you no longer make yourself smaller to fit inside someone else's chaos. And it is from that stillness that your new life begins. There's a final story I want to tell you, not because it ends things, but because it opens something deeper. It comes from the Buddha's last days, when his body had grown frail, his footsteps slower, but his presence vast. One of his disciples, Ananda, wept beside him. "How will we continue without you?" he asked. "Who will guide us through this suffering?" The Buddha, with great gentleness, replied, "Be a lamp unto yourselves, be your own refuge." In those words lies the heart of everything we've walked through together. At some point, the seeking turns inward. At some point, you stop asking the world to give you what it was never meant to hold. You stop waiting for people to apologize, to understand, to change. You stop trying to control every storm, and instead you become the calm. You stop reacting to every slight. You stop needing to prove your heart to those who refuse to see it. You stop arguing with people who don't even listen to themselves. You protect your peace, not with walls, but with presence. You stop explaining your joy. You walk away when your spirit says, "This no longer fits." And slowly, beautifully, you begin to gather the pieces of yourself you'd scattered, trying to be everything for everyone. You begin to reclaim your breath from conversations that went nowhere, your energy from relationships that only took, your self-worth from battles that left you hollow. You realize your dignity isn't found in your defense, it's found in your silence, because silence, when chosen, not from fear but from understanding, is the most powerful voice there is. It says, "I know who I am now, I know what I'm worth, I know what deserves me and what doesn't." And so you become selective, not because you are bitter, but because you are sacred. You hold your energy like it's a flame. You tend it like a garden. You give it only to the places that reflect your becoming. And as you do, the noise fades. The world may still try to stir you, but it no longer gets to shape you. Because now your peace is not just something you feel, it is something you are. So if you find yourself here, older, quieter, maybe a little weathered by life, but still searching, let me tell you something with all the gentleness I can offer. You don't have to carry it anymore. You don't have to keep showing up to conversations that shrink you. You don't have to keep bleeding for people who've forgotten how to tend wounds. You get to rest. You get to be soft. You get to move forward with nothing but your breath, your heart, and the clarity you earned through fire. And if you do it right, if you trust the stillness enough, you won't need to say a word. The life you build will speak for you. Your peace will become your presence. Your boundaries will become your sanctuary, and your quiet will become your legacy. So tonight, may you sit with yourself not as a problem to solve, but as a soul to soothe. May you feel the gentle weight of every step you've taken to get here, and may you finally believe that you don't need to prove your light to anyone who cannot feel its warmth, because the truth is, you've been rising all along, in silence, in strength, in grace. Let the world keep its noise. You, dear one, have found your refuge, and you never needed to raise your voice to get there. May you walk gently through your days, carrying the quiet wisdom that lives within you.